everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is MTG Ghoul Dude, and today we're shedding some more light and showing some more love to another underloved and underappreciated tribe in Magic. And that is the Wraith tribe. Now, they're not all flashy like the Nazgul are, because, some of them are, well, generally most of them are very unimpressive. But don't let them fool you, because Wraiths come in all shapes and sizes, and some of them are quite dangerous. So let's go on ahead and start all the way back in Alpha with the Bog Wraith. Now, for 4 mana, you get a 3/3, but it does have the Swamp Walk. And with a very timely Urborg and any kind of equipment that makes it really just hurt, this could be a bad time for your opponents. Moving on to the Mirage block, we have Dirtwater Wraith for another 3 and a black creature. That's a 1/3 instead this time. It does carry the Swamp Walk ability forward, and it has an ability that we usually see on like dragons or those other creature types that have the 1 for a 1. It gives you, for 1 mana, you get a +1/+0. Now we're going to move into Weatherlight with Odilic Wraith. Odilic? I don't know how to pronounce that from the south. For 3 and a black, it's a 2/2 with Swamp Walk. If it deals any damage to a player, that player chooses and discards a card. Now, with this, it would be very helpful to have like some kind of double strike. That way it hits twice and they get to discard 2 cards. Which is still pretty cool. And with the Swamp Walk, it just makes it harder for your opponents to block it. Now we move into the time-twisted, what is the name of the set again? Man, Time Spiral? No, it's not Time Spiral. Planar Chaos? No. Somebody let me know in the comments below why I am completely overlooking the name of this set. But we're going to go with Street Wraith for 3 and 2 black, which it could be, undiscernible if you're not used to looking at older Magic cards, because this one is going down the side to the left side of it. It is a 3/4 with Swamp Walk. And it has the most amazing ability to cycle for 2 life. Now, this card has an amazing reputation in more 60 card formats than it does in Commander, but don't let it fool you. This is a pretty good card, especially if you can find a way to just keep bringing it back from your hand to like a squee or something, and you just can keep drawing the cards. Now we're going to move into Zendikar with the Bog Tatters for 4 and a black. It's a 4/2 with Swamp Walk, and that is it. Like I said, Swamp Walk is not to be underestimated, because once you get something where you can't block it, guess what? You can start doing some major damage. And now we're going to go into the way far-flung future that is the Warhammer 40k Universes Beyond set with the one and only Canoptic Wraith. Which, in my opinion, is probably the farthest thing from what we're used to seeing in the Magic universe. For 3 generic mana, it is a 2/1 with 2 abilities. Wraith Form, it can't be blocked, and Transdimensional Scout. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 3 generic and sacrifice it. If you do, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards with the same name as a land you control, put them onto the battlefield tapped, and then shuffle. This is kind of like a more overdone Burnished Heart, if you must. But you're not getting the 3 lands, you're just getting the 2. But still, you never know. Or maybe Burnished Heart is 2. I don't know. I haven't played Burnished Heart in a minute. Comes with the territory of playing decks that don't You usually need a lot of ramp, especially in green. And now we're going to go way back, kind of flipping back and forth in the times here, whatever you may want to call it, with the Lord of the Rings set, starting off with the ever ominous Nazgul and all of its mini forms and card arts. For 2 generic and a black, it's a 1/2 Wraith Knight with Death Touch, and we no longer see any kind of natural evasion. When it enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. When the ring tempts you, put a +1/+1 counter on each Wraith you control. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgul, which is pretty fitting because if you know any kind of Lord of the Rings lore, there's always 9 Nazgul. And then there are the Ring Wraiths for 4 generic and 2 black. This is a 5/5 Wraith Knight. When it enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of the turn. If that creature is legendary, its controller loses 3 life. When the ring tempts you, return Ring Wraith from your graveyard to your hand. Kind of a utility slow removal spell if you can find a way to discard it and bring it back when the ring tempts you. I would be kind of hard pressed to put this one in a deck unless I was running all the Ring Wraiths. And then we have the Witch King of Angmar for 3 generic and 2 black. This is a 5/3 Wraith Noble with flying. Whenever one or more creatures deal combat damage to you, each opponent sacrifices a creature that dealt combat damage to you this turn, which is pretty much a no mercy effect on a creature. Then the ring tempts you. But it could happen. You could be tempted within easily a big game within the first rotation. Then you can discard a card and it gains indestructible until end of turn and you tap it. The only thing this does not prevent is a timely Path to Exile. But still pretty powerful in my opinion. Then we have Witch King, Bringer of Ruin for 4 generic and 2 black. This is another 5/3 with flying. When it attacks, defending player sacrifices a creature with the least power among creatures they control. Which is pretty funny because if you're taking all of the little creatures, it makes it harder for them to really just consider blocking if you have a lot of big nasty creatures. Lord of the Nazgul for 3 generic, a blue and a black. This is a 4/3 Wraith Noble with flying. Wraiths you control have protection from ring bearers, which if you're playing all of the changelings to go along with your regular Wraiths, this could be actually pretty handy. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 3/3 black Wraith creature token with menace. Then if you control 9 or more Wraiths, race you control have base power toughness 9/9 until on the turn, which is pretty cool. But that is only temporary because you have to cast the instant or sorcery to make it. Then it checks to see if you have 9, and then they all become 9/9s, which could be confusing if you're playing this and you're new to the game. I would recommend maybe really just kind of like putting a checklist of stuff on there. Like, say, hey, I've done this, I have this, like some kind of little token where you can, or what are those dry erase tokens? You could do that with that, and that way you know that, your 9/9s aren't 9/9s anymore, stuff like that. Still a pretty interesting commander in my opinion. And finally, we have Witch King Sky Scourge. I think this one was only released in the set where you could get like the picture set. For anybody that has one, let me know how you got it, because I wasn't big into Lord of the Rings in the set, but I've watched some of the movies, so my knowledge is only diverged from the movies. But for 5 and 2 black, a black and a red, it's a 5/5 with flying. Whenever you attack with 1 or more Wraiths, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is their total power. You may play those cards this turn. And it also has Undying. So It's a Wraith itself. You can attack with it, and if it's done been murdered once, you get to look at X, which is 6, which could still be pretty cool. And you can play those cards until end of turn. So I mean, that insinuates you can play Lance and stuff like that, among all those other great spells that you have in this deck. But that is going to be it for today, everybody. I really appreciate everybody that's like, commented, and subscribed to the channel. If you haven't and you've been watching this long with me, following me along, why not? We are up to 209 subscribers so far as of this recording. But that is going to be it for today, and I really appreciate it. I can't say it enough. And I will see you guys next time in the graveyard.